Good and decent people of YouTube, put your seatbelts on. We're going for a ride. Ryan Routh, the guy who planned, supposedly, an attempted assassination of Donald Trump on Sunday, the 15th of September, 2024. Yesterday, we asked the question, is he MAGA? Is he lefty? Is he just plain crazy? It turns out the man is an enigma. We said that he was more than likely right-wing because of his posts talking about who he voted for in 2016, Donald Trump, and then saying that he wanted to see Tulsi Gabbard and Ramaswamy on a ticket together. Makes sense. But that's not the full case. And if you're MAGA out there and you're saying to yourself, ha ha, I told you so, stop right there. Nothing is as it seems. Let's start from the beginning. Number one, Ryan Routh is more than likely an independent, especially as he's uncommitted per his voter registration in North Carolina. And at the end, we're going to tell you from his own words, by his own book that he self-published, exactly why he did what he's doing. I got it all. Let's check this out. Number one, he's a Bernie Sanders supporter, a Bernie Sanders supporting independent, left-leaning gun nut. Yes, they exist. He is a pro-Palestinian, Ukrainian-obsessed, China COVID virus conspiracy theorist. Yes, they exist. When I said enigma, I meant it. Left-leaning gun nut, China virus conspiracy theorist, pro-Palestinian and pro-Ukraine. I mean, obsessed with Ukraine, which at the end, after I show you his book, will put a lot of light on exactly why he's doing this. It has nothing to do with the rhetoric on either side, quite frankly, even though I still contest that the violence and the racism and the division being spewed by the right wing of today is unparalleled. But it doesn't have anything to do with this. Put that aside. Put it aside. You have to be able to look at the facts and say when you're wrong. I was wrong yesterday, I believe. There's still some things in there that are right. But overall, this is an enigma. So first I want to show you some really concise reporting that puts it all on the line from WDSU New Orleans. Check this out. Buckle your safety belts, guys. Here we go.
The suspect, Ryan Routh, is only facing weapons charges because he didn't fire any shots at the former president. And we're learning through social media that Routh is very vocal about politics and critical of politicians regardless of their party.
That's Ryan Wesley Routh standing outside the U.S. Capitol more than a year ago. The picture from a LinkedIn post where Routh also posted a picture of himself in Ukraine's capital. A self-proclaimed human rights and political activist, Routh lived in North Carolina most of his life, working as a contractor and owning a roofing business. He moved to Hawaii in 2018, where he owns a business with one of his sons that builds storage units and tiny houses. In Hawaii, Routh was active on Twitter, writing in his profile, quote, "I feel lucky to have been born in America with freedom and opportunity, and hope that I do not waste such a valuable thing." The National Investigative Unit recovered hundreds of posts from his now removed account, some in 2020 showing he was supporting Bernie Sanders.
Now we're going to stop right here, halfway through. Number one, it's disgusting that you call yourself a human rights advocate and somehow you're out here trying to shoot people. What you are is a wannabe left-wing hero nut job. You think you're saving people by destroying them. It's not how this works. But he gained this hero complex way back in 1991. How? We're going to show you. Before we get there, let's slow this down. I want you to see what's on this screen that they just kind of glossed over. Number one, these are pro-Hunter Biden posts. A bunch of them. And he also seems to realize that democracy is on the ballot. And you say to yourself, okay, I know where this guy's coming from. No, you don't. Look what pops up next. We have at Tulsi Gabbard, not just pro Tulsi Gabbard. He's talking to her, talking about the powerful message that he wants her to have. He's talking like someone who's voting for her. What comes up next? In 2020, May of 2020, he's saying that we need these officers arrested, and if Trump needs to do something about it. He's talking to Trump, at real Donald Trump. He really does believe that both sides are accountable to him. He's talking to them personally, at Tulsi, at Donald Trump. So we kind of see that this guy really believes that he's the hero, he's the one they're accountable to, and he believes he can make a difference. Nothing really wrong with that. But the bipolar nature of how he goes about trying to be the hero, we see its origins in 1991. We're going to get there. Watch this.
Showing he was supporting Bernie Sanders. Another tweet saying he supported Donald Trump in 2016. His voting record shows he's unaffiliated, and in recent years, his social media posts support Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. On X, Routh once invited North Korean leader Kim Jong-un to come on vacation in Hawaii in hopes of building a friendly bond between the dictator and Americans. More recently, he publicly tried to recruit volunteer soldiers to go overseas. His phone line for recruits still active.
Sending soldiers to Ukraine as well as Taiwan. If you'd like to volunteer, please send me a message.
Routh went to Ukraine in 2022 to aid in its defense against Russia's invasion. But Ukraine's International Legion confirmed with CNN Routh was never part of the military there or a confirmed volunteer. Long before his arrest Sunday in Florida, Routh had a deep criminal history dating back to 1998. In 2002, he faced firearm charges, including one charge of possessing a weapon of mass destruction, which a local newspaper article said was a machine gun during a traffic stop and standoff. However, 11 years prior, in 1991, Routh won a law enforcement Oscar and was regarded as a super citizen for helping catch a suspected rapist and aiding with the investigation.
YouTube. Ryan Routh in 1991 got the law enforcement Oscar, and he was regarded as a super citizen for helping catch a suspect rapist and aiding with the investigation. That's big. That's big. Not only did he get that recognition in the paper from the authorities, he got that boost, but he also realized that, hey, I can do this. I can be the one to make a difference out here. I get that recognition when I do it, and that self-fulfillment. Fast forward years later, we get some sort of bipolar action. He's locking himself in a business with automatic machine guns. Fast forward years later, he finds himself in Kiev. He's in Ukraine. And this is where the psychology comes in. Now, we know he's disillusioned with all sides. We know he thinks that everyone is accountable to him, not just the people. He believes in democracy, but he's shooting up guns everywhere. And we know that for sure because when we go to the BBC, you see this. In 2019, FBI also received a tip that Routh was a felon in possession of a firearm. The unverified tip was passed on to local law enforcement in Honolulu, where he moved to. A former neighbor, Kim Mungo, describes Routh as a sweetheart and said a federal agent once raided his property. He's a sweetheart, but they raided his property. She alleged that he used to keep loads of stolen property and stuff, her words, at his home. And she saw Routh and his family firing guns in the open. He has a hero complex. He uses the leftist ideology as a way to feel like he is woke. The good version. He feels like he is fighting for the oppressed. He feels like he's the one that can come in and save the day from racism, from radical MAGA ideology. But he's also disillusioned with the reality of life. Like when you go to Kiev and they turn you down because you don't have any combat experience, because everything that you do is obvious to people who are in war and who notice these things and who recruit people for war and train people for war, that you're more of a hindrance than a help, because you're there to be a hero, not to be a cog in the machine, not to be a part of the system and work towards a goal. You're there to be the hero. You got this in 1991. You felt that. I find out he writes his own book, self-published. In February 2023, Routh grumbled about how his efforts were received in Ukraine. Quote, "I have yet to see the smallest amount of appreciation or respect." He's in Kiev to help a war-torn country, volunteering out of the goodness of his heart, supposedly. Writes a book saying that he didn't get the respect he deserves for that volunteer work. I haven't heard someone who actually does that in the military, as a firefighter, or anywhere else that volunteers as a Peace Corps and anywhere else say that. What we have is someone who has been rejected for being a hero in his mind in Kiev. He writes a book about it, doesn't go anywhere. He tries to be a hero years ago, ends up getting caught by the police. He has felony upon felony upon felony. This isn't just about being in the bushes and getting rid of the guy who he thinks is going to hurt Ukraine. This is about proving to himself, I can still fight this war. I can still be a hero. He has been searching, needing, looking for that fix that he got in 1991. And he feels he's not had it since, at least not the way that it felt that first time, like any other drug. That's what we have here. That's what we have here. He's not looking to be a famous person who killed somebody. He's looking almost more internally than externally to say, I can be that hero. I did something. They can't deny my work in this war now. I didn't get the respect I deserved. This is a psychology of a lefty hero disillusioned with society, with rules and regulations, a pro-gun nut who believes that all the guns that he has is used for good, so it makes it okay. And our main question is, how did he get to vote with felonies upon felonies in North Carolina, where I believe you're not allowed to? And how did he get a gun after all of this? We have a problem. He's independent. He's got dreams of lefty heroism. He's got plethoras of conspiracy theories and right-wing nut job red flags. Yes, he does. I wasn't wrong there. But all in all, both sides will have this. I contend, like I said in the beginning, the type of rhetoric, who's eating dogs, bomb threats at hospitals and at schools, the majority of mass shooters, the anti-abortion violence, the burning of the books, all of this, it happens on the right because they have a cesspool of this anger and hate because they don't have actual policies that help anything. But America itself is drowning in a lack of mental health resources. And the guns are everywhere. I condemn this guy. I think it's disgusting. I think as much as he feels like he means well, he's been chasing the drug of heroism since 1991 to get that adulation he felt, and he'll never find it. But he's not the only one. As long as we have guns available for someone like this to get them without any problem, somehow, from machine guns to AK-47 style rifles, as easily as you get a GoPro, we're in trouble. We need the regulations. Fine. We don't need it because of the right-wing people. Whatever it takes, we need it because there's a lefty hero around the corner. Is that what you want to hear? Yeah, I said it. We need the regulations. He should not have one. He shouldn't have had one the minute he stepped back from Kiev. And all indications were that he did nothing there but hurt the cause. The generals there, the leadership there said they didn't want him there. And he stuck around. This is it. There's another hero around the corner. Can we do something now? I hope so. I doubt it. Roller coaster. I told you. Listen, press that like, press subscribe, support this channel. I try to go in depth all the time. And I also am willing to retract statements when we're wrong, because there's no problem in that. I love learning. You should too. I have no problem with that. These are the facts that we have so far. And I'm sure there's more to come, because how he got to vote, I don't know. But help us grow. Help us grow. With that, I say, I'll see you on the next one.